Stop the hitting in football? Is Mike Tomlin leaving the Steelers? And what a slate of games we have. The Manchild Show with Boy Green starts now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. Cause when it comes to sport, it's always coming to. And Boy Green is always on the scene. And we're gonna always bring it to you live streaming. So get ready, ready. Get ready, cause here they come.
All right, here we go again, baby. A live Wednesday edition. The Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital, our YouTube handle. Handle up and subscribe, baby. We need some subscribers. We're getting close to giving away a Bobby Mercer autographed baseball. Hold on, I got it right here. Yankee nuts. I love getting rid of Yankee memorabilia. You know, I'm a Met fan, so, you know, anytime I collect Yankee memorabilia, I want to give it away.
Right, yeah.
It is beautiful Bobby Mercer. I'll give it to you in this beautiful little case. All right, you got to be one of our first 400 subscribers. So we're closing in on 400, so please get there. We also have that $400 golf club. Maybe I'll take a peek at that later. You see the link right there to become a subscriber. All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Boy Green. How are you?
Good. By the way, 18 subscribers away. We had a nice little surge, a little bit of Boy Green Daily. I'm like, hey, people, boop, 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 boop. Hot, still waiting. So 18 away, baby. As of
some
this
Giant fans in this subscription, man. I would be talking to all these Jet guys all the time. I got to justify my Giant fandom.
There you go.
Where are you Giant fans? Where are the people wearing these kind of hats, too? All right, let's have a little balance, dare I say. Where are the Bills? Where are the Bills people? We talk as much about the Bills as we do the Giants and the Jets.
Yeah.
So, and all you Syracuse nerds, where are you, Syracuse nerds? The basketball team finally beat a ranked team. Where are you? We'll be talking about that later this weekend.
Again, 18 away, old gang. 18 away from the first of our many giveaways. We're going to be doing multiple at every mile marker, 425, 450, 500, to build their way back up.
Probably wants that Mercer ball.
He does.
Perfect,
why wouldn't he?
Perfect handle for a Yankee ball. All right, let's get right into it. Let's bring in our NFL insider. We talk to him every single Wednesday live, and it's our good buddy from PFF, Mr. Dalton Wasserman. How are you, Dalton?
Fantastic, Manchild. Let me tell you one thing. I'm going to ask you one thing of you. Okay,
yes.
After your show's over, get done with the show. Have a great show, even after I leave and all of that. Take all that Yankee memorabilia you have. Give away the Bobby Mercer ball. It's fine. Take the rest of the Yankee memorabilia you have and throw it in that 2 feet of snow that I know you just got up there. Okay, you don't need it. You really do not. Either give it away quick or just throw it outside. I don't know what you need any Yankee memorabilia in your house for. You don't need it.
Who is your baseball fandom? I don't even know who it is.
He's a Mets guy.
Oh, you're a Mets guy. That's right. That's right. We've worn Mets hats together. Yes. Yeah. All right, you're right. Okay. So yeah, we're on the same page. But it has some intrinsic value. So I might as well hang on to it for some particular reason.
There you go.
I mean, at worst, I could put it out on eBay and sell it or something. Make some cash. But I'd rather give it away to our wonderful viewers.
There you go. What a guy.
All right, listen, Dalton, I'm a little mad this week. I won't admit I'm going to come at you heavy to start this thing off. This is a discussion we had the other day with our Giants insider, Ed Valentine, and I'm still steam shooting out of my ears about this. I just was very, very bothered, frankly, and I love football, and I understand football is a violent sport. It's one of the many reasons I watch it, but I do not like a league to be professing that they are protecting players and then see players put on the kind of hits that the New England Patriots put on the Giants in that game the other night. And it just bothered me to the core that it's hypocritical. Leading with the helmet is supposed to be illegal, even in the pro game. In the college game, it's called targeting, and you get thrown out from the game. And I don't understand why the NFL hasn't put that into play, to be honest with you, but that's their decision to make. They want to make it a 15-yard penalty. Fine. I don't think that really cures anything. Frankly, I think what the penalty should be is if that guy gets hurt, like Gunnar Olszewski, who we know is going to miss a bunch of games in all likelihood. I mean, that guy had rubber legs walking off the field. Whoever hits him illegally, he sits till Olszewski returns, okay? It's not even a one-game suspension. It's a you sit until the guy you hurt comes back. That's the way I would like to see the law enforced. Were you bothered at all by that, or was that just another game of football for you? Let's have at it.
I think in general, it's not just this one game for me. I'm bothered in college football too. I think it might be even worse with the targeting calls. I'm bothered by the inconsistency of it. That we could
no
watch
question,
any.
It's inconsistent. I will get on that.
that we could watch any given game and it feels like they let guys get away with hits like this. And then there's other games where I think there's some calls that are honestly kind of soft. Like I at this point, for another example, I don't really know what roughing the passer is at this point, because I feels like two or three soft roughing the passer calls where I go, that looks like a normal tackle to me. So I'm not even sure that they know at this point. And it really is frustrating when you talk about sometimes you get penalties in certain games and too many of them. Sometimes, like in this game, you get 2 or 3 instances where, it's a hard hit or lead with the helmet or a hit on a quarterback. No, I do think the one Jackson Dart hit that started the fight on the sideline. I mean, he was inbounds. If you're going to get out of bounds, get out of it. And there's certain things with that where it's like we're tiptoeing sidelines and taking big hits and it looks bad, but he was inbound. And I just think there isn't a whole lot of consistency to it. Now, as far as ejecting guys and suspending them and things like that, I think that is hard because the game is moving so fast and the officials have to make these calls on the field. And honestly, even for targeting in college, I'm not a huge fan of guys getting ejected or even getting suspended the first half of the next game, but they need to find some level of consistency with this. And even something like a hip drop tackle, I haven't seen that called once all year, and they made a big fuss about it in the offseason. So. And we keep seeing them too. So I just think the lack of consistency, that you don't know what you're getting game to game when you're watching this, is really the biggest problem.
And I think the thing I hate about all of this, you mentioned, skirting the sideline. Now, Jackson Dart was not doing this because I'm not going to call him stupid. I'm just going to call him young. He wasn't skirting it to like bait the defender to try to do. He was just, I'm a young buck and I'm just running around out there. Patrick Mahomes is cagey, and he skirts and watches you, and you're a defender, and you have to make a decision. Do I whack this guy because he's in bounds? Or as soon as I go to whack him, he immediately steps out and then flops, and then there's a 15-yard penalty. Or I just let him keep skirting up the sideline and getting yards, but my job is to prevent him from getting those yards. That's the fine line where I'm like, man, it's impossible to be a defender in the National Football League because you can't hit him high, you can't hit him low, and then if you hit him in the medium, the meat of their body, and they lower their helmet, that's where their helmet is. So helmet to helmet contact. What an impossible task, dog.
Yeah, no, I think, to be honest with you, if there's anything that what the UFL has done that I think could be brought to the NFL is maybe not for every call we see in the game getting a replay review, because then the game will be 4 hours long, but maybe you do the thing where you have that super challenge and you get to challenge anything you want. You can challenge a penalty, you can challenge a non-call that you think should have been called. That includes maybe roughing the passer. You could challenge a hit like that on the sideline where, look, the quarterback was inbounds and he hit him. What is he supposed to do? My job is to hit him in the field of play, right? I wouldn't even hate the idea of that super challenge coming in and giving a coach the power to at least look at that sort of thing. Which game was it where there was, I think it was the Charger Commander game Sunday night, where there was a pretty obvious tripping call that Marcus Mariota got tripped and it ended up as a 15-yard sack when it should have been 15 yards the other way. That's something like that where I go, you throw that super challenge like you do in the UFL and you go, oh, it was a tripping call, let's tack it on. I think you could add that for one extra challenge for each side, just for that they could use on a penalty call or a non-call, that we could really go back and look. Because again, the game is moving so fast, and when it's these judgment calls, they get them wrong a certain percent of the time. That's going to be true. So I think some at least limited, expanded use of replay could be really useful here.
Yeah. All right. I'll get off my soapbox, but it's just been irritating me because I just don't like a league that professes one thing and then does another. Okay. So it's not even totally the hits that I have an issue with. It's that you're saying, oh, we're all about it. And you can wear those little cushy things on top of your helmet too. And we're all about stopping CTE. You think Gunnar Olszewski is feeling, I wonder what his chances now of CTE being part of his permanent life are after that hit, having the logo knocked off your helmet, for crying out loud, on a helmet to helmet hit. Coaches should be teaching players how to tackle with their heads up. You don't lower your head when you tackle. You raise your head when you tackle. You square your body. I learned it in Pee Wee football. I'm not even a football player, and I learned it in Pee Wee football, how to make a tackle. Why can't we do it that way in the pros? Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox if people love the violence, and I'm just some kind of martyr out here screaming from I'm Chicken Little screaming from the rooftop. Hey, look at me, look at me. All right, fine. Let's talk some football. That's what we're here to do. All right, the New England Patriots, are they for real? Dalton, let's talk about it. Are they for real?
Absolutely. I mean, they went in there against the Giants, and I know you were upset about the rest of it, but the game itself, it was just a dominant showing. I mean, they made it look easy. There's a lot of, I know they've had a softer schedule than some teams, but against a lot of those teams are putting up dominant performances that it looks like they're on cruise control. And Drake May's a legitimate MVP candidate. Their defense is getting better every single week. They're dealing with some offensive line injuries, and it didn't hurt them at all against the Giants. They're starting to run the football a little bit better. They've got a little bit of everything, and I've said this for weeks now. They've got the right mix of young guys and veterans that go together, right? There's some games where it's Drake May stepping up. There's some games where it's other young guys stepping up. There's some games where it's, guys like Robert Spillane on defense or Stephon Diggs at wide receiver, veteran guys who are experienced and have been through winning season and played in the postseason and had success there that are carrying them through. They've got a good, balanced football team with a really darn good quarterback, and they are so well coached. It's a reason that Mike Vrabel right now is the betting favorite to be coach of the year. Josh McDaniels has been outstanding on the offensive side of the ball. Got a little bit of everything, and they're going to be really hard to beat as long as that offensive line can keep it together through these injuries.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing is they're just such an incredibly young team and that they haven't had those dips because, it's hard to be really consistent. And while the Patriots haven't played an immense challenging schedule, that still, as a young team, you wouldn't just slip up and overlook a Titans team, this team. That to me has been surprising. So massive credit, obviously, to Mike Vrabel there. Speaking of head coaches, Mike Tomlin, future in Pittsburgh. I feel like we talk about this on a year-to-year basis here, Dalton, but there were loud fire Mike Tomlin chants during the Steelers game, which caught some eyebrows. Ben Roethlisberger apparently this morning on his podcast, because everyone has a podcast. My mother, brother, sister, cousin, nephew all have a podcast. He says that perhaps the Steelers and Mike Tomlin should part ways. So even he, a prominent voice in the Pittsburgh community, has breathed some life into it. Where do you stand, Dalton? Is it for real that this could actually be the final season of Mike Tomlin there in Pittsburgh?
It is for real. If they miss the postseason, or even if that streak ends, that non-losing season streak that he's never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. If one or both of those streaks end, then I think it becomes very real. And the problem for me is, at the end of last season, when it was Russell Wilson and George Pickens, they were playing great, and then they lost their last 5 games. They didn't score more than 17 points in any of them. The one question that I ask is that whether Mike Tomlin is here or not, this team going to have a real discussion about what they want to be offensively? I know the Steelers' entire history is defense and run game, and outside of Terry Bradshaw was great back in the day, and Ben Roethlisberger was great, but for the most part, we know the Steelers as this rough and tumble defensive, physical football team. But they got to find a way to score points. Look, the modern game is about scoring first and then making stops when you need to, and they just haven't answered any of those questions this season. I find myself right now with them, with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback, with DK Metcalf making the money he makes, and then not much else on offense. What do they want to be as an offensive football team? We still don't have that answer, and we head into this offseason having no idea what they want to do. Either they got to modernize or they got to change some things. I think this Mike Tomlin, this smoke is very real, and it's getting frustrating for Steelers fans to watch this year in and year out.
Well, there's a wonderful team in New York just waiting for Mike Tomlin to be fired, and we'll gladly take him on, and we'll deal with all that baggage that you have there in Pittsburgh. That sounds lovely to me. Fire Tomlin. I am on the train with all you Steeler fans and Ben Roethlisberger and his mom and his aunt and everyone else who has a podcast who's saying the same thing. I'll take him. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move along. We've got some great games this week. Wait, before I get that, let me throw one more at you, Dalton. Just a little idea that I had. Super Bowl. Two teams playing in the Super Bowl. Rams, New England, percentages.
I think pretty good. I mean, the exact percentages I know are so wide open,
but give me a Dalton Wasserman percentage chance that it's Rams, Patriots, Super Bowl. Which let's just
say there's still a long way to go, but I believe the Rams could end up with the 1 seed, New England in the 1 seed. Let's say 15%. Let's just say, and honestly, all things considered, and all the combinations you could get, I think that's actually pretty high, and I think it would be so much fun. I've thought about this lately too, because it'd be so much fun, right? Remember Tom Brady, second year in the NFL, right? First year as a starter, or first half a season as a starter, and beating the Rams and a veteran quarterback in Kurt Warner, and then if you get history to maybe repeat itself with Drake May and Matthew Stafford, I think it would be a ton of fun to see. I think every fan of the AFC East, like us, myself and Boy Green there, would be scared because here comes another New England dynasty. But I think for that to be the case, if it was Rams Patriots, it would be a lot of fun just for the kind of the synergy between those two eras of Tom Brady and with Drake May.
I would just hope if we get that Rams-Patriots Super Bowl, it's more like the first one, greatest show on turf and a compelling Super Bowl versus the 13-3 pillow fight we got with Jared Goff and Tom Brady. That was disgusting. It's one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever seen. So as long as we don't get that version of Patriots-Rams and we get the earlier version, I'm all for a compelling game. Thank you. Yes.
Hey, direct question here to you from one of our viewers. It's Jamie, the FedEx guy, a longtime listener and viewer here of our channel. He says, have you ever seen that Younghoe Koo blunder before? That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen a kicker do. Literally kick the ground 2 feet in front of the ball and stub his toe, and then, the holder has to pick it up and run for it. Oh, my God. If the Giants weren't embarrassing enough, that thing is going to go down in the annals of history. One of the silliest things I've ever seen a kicker do. Have you ever seen that, Dalton?
I can't think of it, even at the college or even at the high school level. I can't think of seeing one like that. Usually when you see a blunder like that, it's the plant leg, right? It's raining outside or the field's not great. And it's like a legitimate fall, right? It's a slip and fall sort of thing. And you go, oh, it's bad conditions or something. I've never seen that. In good conditions, on clean turf, just completely just wedged it. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. I have not. That is as clean a miss, as close to the Charlie Brown as you're going to get in real life, right? I haven't seen it like that. Usually it's the plant leg. I've never seen the kicking leg just get dug into the turf like that. It's ridiculous.
Now, Koo is getting a lot of crap for what's the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen in my life. Now, from Giants' perspective, I'm not a Giants guy. What Giants people have said and what Younghoe Koo explained is he said, hey, not trying to throw the other guy under the bus, but the handler effed up the snap and he was, bumbling the ball when he was putting it down. So Younghoe Koo tried to slow down running because if he got there at normal speed, he would have kicked a sideways ball into the back of someone's head. So he tried to wait up for him, and he's like, geez, the timing's all messed up. There's nothing I could do. So instead, he says he purposely kicked the ground because he pulled up like, geez. So I don't know if that's just trying to cover his butt.
He's saying that was intentional. Otherwise, he would have just squibbed it right or something, done some
correct. That's what he said. He tried to wait up for his guy to get the ball in the proper position, and he didn't. So is he just throwing a teammate under the bus?
I don't know.
Is that true? I don't know. But that's what Giants people are saying.
I'd have to go back and look at it a second time. And I think the lesson here is, and coaches talk about this, special teams coaches especially, that process all happens from snap to kick in about a second and a half, right? And it's moving so fast, and if you're just the tiniest bit off, the kick is going to get blocked or something mechanically is going to be off. That's always what coaches talk about, the operation and the mechanics of it, not just the kick. They trust the kicker if the rest of the mechanics are clean, but any little microscopic alteration in that can be a problem. Right now, it ended up with a terrible result, and oftentimes when the field goal unit looks bad like that, it looks like a terrible result. It certainly was, and we haven't seen it like that, but that could be true. I'd have to look at it again, and if that's the case, then I get it, man. Again, that entire process happens in a second and a half, and if it's off at all, there's a ton of things that could be a catastrophe, and you saw it right there.
Well, because I was into pain and punishment, I did watch that replay that they had several. So that it was a bad hold. Jamie Gillen, who's the punter for the Giants, who's the holder for the Giants, he fumbled it first. It was a little bit high, but it was very reasonable. He fumbled it a little bit. Then when he got it down, he had it like backwards. He was trying to bring the ball back to set and get it almost to level where the kicker wants it. And Koo definitely was maneuvering a little bit. You could even see it a little bit as he was coming up to the ball. But that's the first time I heard that, Boy Green. That is amazing that he said, I actually just jammed my foot in the ground on purpose because that was better than what would have happened if I had
kicking it to a back of a giant, I guess.
And if you look at it, his plant foot, and they plant relatively close to the ball. But if you go back again and look at the slow-mo replay, his plant foot was right next to the ball. I mean, it was like an inch from the ball. That doesn't give you any room to bring the swing foot through. I mean, you got to give yourself a little bit of room to clear there. Anybody that's a golfer knows, right? You got to give yourself room inside, to bring your hands through, or you're done for. And it seemed like that's what kind of happened too. He had planted already and was like, I can't kick it right there. Like, so maybe he did do it on purpose. That is
good breakdown there, Lurch. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you bring to the show. Golf, kicking, like it. Nice.
All right, go ahead. Let's talk some games, BG. Why don't you fire
Oh,
off? There's some
cool.
great games this coming week, so let's get into it with Dalton.
Yeah, let's start with the Thursday night game. Again, we have the Dallas Cowboys, the Detroit Lions. I described it this way to Lurch off air as we're getting ready for the cold open, and we were talking about ideas. And I said it in this way. I will now frame it in a question, not a statement as I did before. Is this Dallas Cowboys versus Detroit Lions game that's kicking us off on Thursday Night Football? Cowboys 6-5-1, Cowboys 7-5. Is this an elimination game for the NFC playoff picture?
I don't think it's an elimination game for both of them, or if it is at all, because we know the Eagles are struggling right now as far as Dallas goes, and the Lions do need to figure some things out because you got teams like San Francisco at 9-4, and you only have so much more ground to make up so much more runway with 4 games after this. What I do think it is, especially on the Dallas side, is an opportunity, a huge one. If Dallas wins this game, they are very much in this NFC East race. They've got a pretty good runway the rest of the way that they could win the rest of their games. Their defense is playing a lot better, and I think the big difference in this game, when you talk about a Lions team, you got to stop the run. Well, Quinn and Williams in that defensive line have been outstanding lately. Over the last 5 games, the Cowboys on our scale have the highest graded defensive line in the NFL. If they can match the physicality with the Lions and get this big win in what might be their hardest game remaining on the schedule, then they have a shot to catch Philly for that division title.
Talking with Dalton Wasserman. He's our NFL insider. We talk to him live every single Wednesday. It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Love for you to click that subscribe or hit that thumbs up like if you can during our videos. If you enjoy what you're listening to, that helps get us out to a larger audience. Today's broadcast is brought to you by our friends at Crest Cadillac. Let's just take 30 seconds to learn a little bit more about our friends from Crest.
Cadillac certified pre-owned vehicles, exclusively available in Central New York at your participating Cadillac dealer, Crest Cadillac. Each one must meet high standards and receives a 172-point inspection, along with a 1-year unlimited mile warranty after the original warranty expires. Come into Crest Cadillac in Syracuse today for exceptional offers on Cadillac certified pre-owned models. CrestCadillac.com.
Talking with Dalton Wasserman, PFF, our NFL insider, breaking down anything and everything in the world of football. Go ahead, BG. Fire off the next question.
Yes, let's keep going down these games. We've got a lot of really good ones. Man, we thought this was going to be good before the season, and then injuries in the middle. We're like, oh no, and now we're back. Yeah, we're back, baby. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Bengals, Bills. And when Joe Burrow came back, we're like, all right, what are you coming back for? The team's 3-8. What are you going to do? Then they beat the Ravens. The Steelers throw up all over themselves. You're like, wait a second. Could Cincinnati find a way to win this AFC North? And then obviously Buffalo, I'm not sure if they're still in the running for the AFC East, but they need every win they could get as they set their own playoff positioning. What do you make about this one? Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, a CBS classic.
This is one where, kind of like your question before about Detroit and Dallas, this is actually one where I think the loser of this game could be eliminated from their division race. Now, the Bengals with Burrow coming back was, the idea was we've got 3 games to start here, Ravens, Bills, Ravens. If we go 3-0 in that stretch, and that includes a tiebreaker over the Ravens, then you start talking about, okay, maybe they could get to 9-8 and win some tiebreakers and win that division, right? They've already played the Steelers twice. They split both of those games, but the back end, the last 3 games of their schedule are very winnable, but they got to get through these next 2 first, and going into Buffalo and winning is as tough a task as there is. And as far as the Bills go, they need this win as far, you mentioned before about staying in that race in the AFC East with New England. If they don't win this game, I think they might be just about out of it at that point, right? The Bills, they don't look great on defense. They're inconsistent. The offense has been a bit inconsistent lately. When they get to running the football, they look good, but the lack of wide receivers are hurting the passing game. Both teams need this win very, very badly, but if Burrow goes into Buffalo and wins this one, and then they get to come back next week to Cincinnati and play the Ravens again, and the Ravens offense is really struggling right now. We know the Steelers offense is struggling. You could see them catch fire down the stretch here, but one game at a time, they got to go into Buffalo and win first.
Quick PTI correction. Normally this comes at the end of PTI, but I'll do it immediately. Normally a CBS Classic. This game actually is on Fox between Bengals and Bills. For folks, this is really going deep in broadcasting weeds, but for a long time, NFC games, for the most part, belong to the Fox side of things, AFC to CBS. Those lines have now blurred in our new digital age, so now games can go all over the place with that freedom. So Fox game at 1 o'clock. Go ahead, Lurch.
No, where was I? Yeah, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I had a good question for you too.
Okay, I bet you did. I could go to another one if
Yeah,
you
go
like.
ahead. Go to another one. I'll come right
Okay.
back to it.
All right. Another classic. We're talking about divisional races. Indianapolis and Jacksonville. Colts 8-4. Jaguars 8-4. Colts all of a sudden they look like in prime position. Ooh, they traded for Sauce Gardner. Oh, Indiana Jones. Yeehaw! Crystal Skull and going all over the place with his whip and fedora. But oh, wait a second. Things have stumbled now. Jacksonville's in the mix. Houston's in the mix, who beat Indianapolis. Things are getting pretty spicy, specifically with this game in particular here, Dalton, between the Colts and Jags.
Yeah, no, what you're seeing against the Colts right now is teams are daring Daniel Jones to beat them, and it doesn't appear he can do it. Just, when you talk about those quarterbacks that when everyone and their mother in the stadium knows you're throwing the football, can they beat you? And honestly, he played pretty well against the Texans last week, and it didn't matter because they only had, I think, 83 rushing yards or somewhere in that area. I mean, you talk about a team that's built on Jonathan Taylor and the offensive line and then gets a play action, and it's a team that's built for Daniel Jones not to have to carry them, and opposing defenses are making him carry them. They will take their chances with that. It's kind of like when you see Jared Goff and the Lions when they fall behind in games and have issues having to drop back and throw the football. The Colts are having the same problem right now. So Daniel Jones, look, they got to find a way to run the football. They got to find a way to take kind of the monkey off his back a little bit and not have him carry them. But if they don't do that, Jacksonville's got a really good defense that's figured things out again the last few weeks, playing well in coverage. They're going to have some problems. This game is going to come down to whether or not they can find that rhythm again for Jonathan Taylor in the run game.
Well, here's one that I couldn't believe it when I read it this morning. When we think of the Cleveland Browns, we think of the mess at quarterback that they have created with drafting 2 rookies, then having 2 vets, bringing Joe Flacco. There's everything that has happened this season. Pickett, now they got Shador at the helm, and they don't even want him at the helm. And it's crazy. Deshaun Watson, the forgotten man. Yes, he still is on the Browns roster. Yes, he still kind of plays football. They just opened up the 21-day practice window for him. Remember last year he ruptured his Achilles. It's hard to even remember. We've to forget him.
And he re-injured his Achilles in January.
He did. So he's back and now practicing with the team. Does he ever play football again? I don't even want to say for the Browns. Does he ever play football again in the NFL?
To be honest, I don't think he does anywhere outside of Cleveland. And his contract being what it is, I mean, I guess technically there's no real financial benefit to cutting him. It doesn't matter. The money's dead either way.
Correct.
But I mean, this is odd. I mean, you get a 21-day practice window. They're going to see within that 21 days they can make a decision on whether he's going to play or not. If he doesn't look good in those 3 weeks of practice, then you just won't see him at all. And then they're still basically stuck with him for next year. So maybe there's a chance you could see him as their starter next year if they decide not to take a quarterback in this year's draft. And for as ludicrous as that sounds, they need to fix the offensive line and the receiving core also before they can get any sort of offensive success going. So I don't think he plays anywhere outside of Cleveland. Even when he was healthy and playing with the Browns, he did not look good at all. He looked like barely a backup quarterback out there. So they're just throwing darts at the wall at this quarterback situation at this point. That to me, that's all this really is.
All right, let's stay there in the AFC North. 6-6 Steelers. 6-6 Ravens. Now, Dalton, you of course participate in our NFL picks against the spread on a week-to-week basis, so you have a few days to submit your selections to me via the old text message, okay? But to get a little bit of a preview of it, I mean, somebody's got to win this game. Who are you leaning towards? These divisional games, especially Ravens Steelers, are one of the best rivalries in football. It's normally a lot of fun. What do you see happening here?
I'm leaning towards Baltimore. Both quarterbacks are struggling. Lamar Jackson doesn't look great, especially when they have to just drop back and throw the football without play action right now. But I trust him to bounce back more right now than I would trust Aaron Rodgers, especially with the injuries. He's getting beat up. His starting left tackle's out for the season now. They're not running the football very well. And honestly, it's just not a very creative offense. I think the Ravens at least can improvise and find their way to more points than right now. And it wasn't a good performance they put up last week against Cincinnati, but a lot of that was turnovers and losing fumbles and all of that. When they're playing clean football, they're still a relatively solid offense. I don't think I can say the same for Pittsburgh right now. So unless the Steelers go in there and just absolutely dominate the trenches, which they certainly didn't do against Buffalo last week, I'm leaning towards Baltimore in this game.
Well, we've got a fascinating one in Green Bay. The number one seeded, let me say that again, the number one currently seeded in the NFC, Chicago Bears, are heading on up to Lambeau Field in a very important battle, obviously, for seeding, for a lot on the line. Are you a believer in the Ben Johnson Bears and Caleb Williams, or are you still scratching your head and thinking maybe this isn't the real deal?
I'm a believer in the sense that they can make the playoffs, and they probably will make the playoffs, and they can win that division, especially if they win one of these two matchups against the Packers. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender quite yet. I don't think they're there on defense, and I actually don't think they're there yet with Caleb Williams in the passing game to go to the Super Bowl yet, but they're really good. And the two reasons are the two reasons you saw on Black Friday. One, they can run the hell out of the football. Man, they are one of the best rushing teams in the league. The offensive line is outstanding. They got two backs in DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai running like all hell down there, getting yards after contact, running hard, and they got those holes open for them up front. And you just don't see teams go in there and dominate Philadelphia in Philadelphia like that. And two, on defense, they're a bit inconsistent, but they force turnovers. They lead the league in takeaways. You saw that in that game against Philadelphia. The strip from Nashawn Wright on the tush push that you guys, for the Giants fans out there, should have had that one in your game as well. But I think those are the two reasons right there. They control the football. They run the football. They control time of possession, and then they force turnovers on defense. That's what makes them dangerous. So they're for real as far as the postseason goes. I'm not going to call them a Super Bowl contender yet until I see the passing game and the defense get a little more consistent, but they are very good with that offensive line.
All right, Dalton, here's my final one. Sunday Night Football. Houston Texans, who have arguably the best defense in football, and the Chiefs, who are in desperation mode. They were in desperation mode last week. That's the word to use to describe those Chiefs and Cowboys teams. And now I imagine just more desperate. Okay, and now they're there against Houston. Who are you, again, another lean here. What do you think about this contest?
This might be the hardest game to pick in the NFL this week. We got some darn good ones too. But you look at Houston's defense and what they're doing, and their defense played an excellent game last year when they went into Kansas City in the postseason. And the desperation factor for the Chiefs, for as inconsistent as they've been, I think when you talk about them losing just about all of the tiebreakers with all those other wild card teams, especially if they lose this game, another one to Houston, I think if the Chiefs lose this game, that might really be the last nail in the coffin, because they're going to lose every tiebreaker. The best they could get to is 10-7. They still got to play the Broncos again. They still got to play the Chargers again. This is really the last stand for Kansas City. If they win this game, you feel pretty good. You go, okay, one game at a time. They got through the desperate one against maybe the best defense in football. They still got a lot of work to do, but the stakes are so incredibly high here in the regular season, which we don't usually say for the Chiefs. And then for the Texans also, you mentioned it, they're in that AFC South race, and CJ Stroud is healthy. If he can play a little bit better, I think they could be really good as well. They could be kind of a dark horse in the AFC. So this is a huge ball game. I'm officially leaning towards Houston, but I don't feel great about it one way or the other. I think it's as 50-50 a game as we have this week.
All right. I know you're not our fantasy insider. Joe Bartle is. He joins us every Friday. But Dalton, you've been getting thrown fantasy questions. So I'm going to throw a personal fantasy question at you.
Oh, boy.
Starting quarterback this week, you have only two choices. Do you start Mahomes in that game against that very rugged Houston defense, or do you trust Caleb Williams up there in Green Bay? Given that choice, who would you choose? Wow. This is my personal dilemma. Boy, I got him thinking. Even Boy Green's like holding his hand over his mouth like, what would I do here? Which one do I trust more in this particular situation?
It's probably still. I feel like I think you still have to go probably Mahomes. If it was a better match. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you had a better match, like if the Bears were playing a bad team.
Correct. That would make it easy.
If the Bears were playing a bad team, I might actually lean in on Caleb. But I think Ben Johnson's going to want to go in there like he did last week against Philly and kind of protect Caleb from any sort of pressure and any sort of high leverage situations. They want to run the football. They want to be physical. And I just think if the Bears are going to win that game, I could see a scenario where Caleb throws the ball probably less than 30 times. I don't know that you would get a whole lot of volume in that case. And look, the Packers defense is still really good, and you still got Micah Parsons breathing down your neck. I think Mahomes, especially with as much as he can scramble, and Caleb can scramble too, I think you'll see Mahomes running the ball a little bit. I think, to me, I'd probably go with the safer commodity and still say Mahomes, but, man, that is a tough choice because it feels like the ceiling's pretty limited on both.
All right, Dalton. Man. Always a pleasure, my friend. Appreciate the fantasy advice, the reality advice. and everything else. So we'll talk to you again next week. Enjoy the games.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys as always. See you next week.
All right, there he is. From PFF, that's Dalton Wasserman, our main squeeze for all things NFL. Joins us every Wednesday live. We always appreciate his time, his thoughts, his opinions. Anything to unpack there, BG? What are your thoughts here coming out of that discussion?
As your resident fantasy football expert, I lean towards exactly what Dalton said. Again, if Caleb had an easier matchup, and Green Bay's been topsy-turvy defensively, so, there is some give or take. So, wouldn't surprise me if Caleb had a really good game, but, it would just feel easier for me to make a decision if they're playing some dump fire. I'm trying to think of who would that team be? Just a terrible defense, but that would just make me go, okay, clearly Caleb. But because it's sort of up in the air, and he's Patrick Mahomes in a do or die game where they need Patrick Mahomes to do Patrick Mahomes things, despite the reality that Houston's defense is really good, I'd probably lean Mahomes. But it's tough.
I'm almost thinking number one, the game is in Kansas City for Mahomes. So,
correct.
That always helps comfy confines of home.
Yep.
I also think because of the desperation factor for Kansas City, and we've seen it a lot this year in general, Mahomes is just running more. He is just active with his legs, and that pass rush is going to get after him. So they're going to have to get him on the move, and he's going to have to take off a few times to keep that defense honest. So this could be one of those games where maybe you get 50, 60 yards of rushing out of Mahomes.
Sure.
And then if you get, 200 to 220 yards of passing and a couple of touchdowns, you end up with a pretty decent fantasy. Yeah. Not okay, all right, that's what I need to do. Caleb's a little bit bigger roll of the dice. Like you said, Green Bay's spotty, man. They're just spotty. I also don't know what the weather's like. I actually was texting with Joe Bartle yesterday on some personal stuff. And he was saying that they had just recently, and he's in Wisconsin. He doesn't live too far from Lambeau. He's in Madison, Wisconsin. He was saying that they had just gotten a foot of snow, and they're also being subject to, I guess, this nor'easter that's coming up our way, or some storm that's coming across their way as well. So they're getting
I heard
second storm as well. So the conditions could be a little iffy, which certainly doesn't lend itself to the passing game. And the Bears like to run it. They do like to run it.
By the way, speaking of fantasy, I know we're going to get into a lot of NFL stuff, but now it feels like a natural time to go to this. Here's the craziness of our league, right? So this is our champs league.
Insane.
There's 12 teams on your screen. Think about this, folks. This is wild. We have one game left in the regular season. That's week 14 in our leagues. And then the playoffs start after that. Manchild is the only team that has a playoff spot locked up.
The only one that's playing. See that little asterisk?
Yeah, that little asterisk. You got to zoom in on that. Right? Zoom in, right? That means, just think about this, right? So I'm the third place team in the league, and if I had 4 more points, I'd be the second place team in the league. There's a chance that the second place team gets a bye or is out of the playoffs completely. That is possible based on this craziness. So Lurch, I'm sure, is very happy to have that nice little asterisk.
Yeah, I'm sitting back relaxing.
Jamie's angry that he has an asterisk on his championship, but Lurch is very happy he has an asterisk on this standings because that means he's locked in. Thank the heavens above. But look at all the teams that are vying in the mix here. It's unbelievable. So I just noticed that this morning. I'm like, hey, yeah, I know I'm battling for a bye, but did I at least lock in a playoff spot? I don't know all the numbers and everything. I looked and went, oh my goodness, I have it. So it's going to be getting a little dicey. So got to take care of some business. I'd love to let alone make the playoffs. I fully expect to do that. I want to get that bye week, baby, and we'll see. But there's going to be a lot of drama.
And how about our defending champ? Put that graphic up for another second. Our defending champ is sitting in 8th place right now. Jabber's Wing Sauces, our buddy Sean and his friend Ryan. It's kind of like a dual ownership situation there. He's in 8th place right now. The product of a lot of bad luck. If you look at his points, 4 points against. Number one, he is the third most right now. Is it third most or second most?
Yeah, it looks like third most,
Third most points. Most of the year, he's been second most points in the league. At times, he's even had the most points. So third most points in the league, and he's sitting in 8th, but he's getting...
And he doesn't control his own destiny.
Against him. He's had as many points scored against him as he's tallied. It's been like a 50-50 thing. So that is the luck of fantasy. Sometimes you just don't know. But yeah, a lot of times week 14 is just a couple of things being decided. In our league, outside of me, everything's being decided.
100%.
I've locked up first place in a bye. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. But that wasn't even by some miracle almost. I mean, you were in a very, very tight battle that could have gone either way, came down to the Monday Night Football game. You could be in second and with the potential to even move into first next week. Now, because you lose that one, I clinch. I got you on points. I don't think you catch me in points. So,
yeah, right.
So it looks like it's a done deal for me. So even though I got to make that Mahomes-Caleb decision this week because I want to knock Brian Drake, who I'm playing.
Of course.
The Drake team sitting in 7th out of the playoffs. Our fantasy insider. Always love
That'd
to take those guys down if I can.
Sure.
I'm sitting back relaxing and enjoying the show, man. I'll be on the old Barca Lounger. I'll have a couple of wines in me. I'll just be like, hey, all right, football.
Yeah. And by the way, Jabber, this is a shout out to you in a bad way, but you have the most points scored against you in the entire league. Number one most, which is just unlucky, right? It's all random who we play on any given week.
Right. You don't know.
Of course not, which just stinks. But yeah, so unbelievable. So if it stands as it stands currently, which it definitely probably won't because of all the drama, our champion would be out of the playoffs, which means a new champion, at least for this season, would be crowned. So wow, terrific. So great drama to come. Great drama.
And how big is that buy for you, Boy Green? You got to be in the top 2 to get the buy.
Yeah, I want the buy.
What's that like?
And I've said this for everyone out there in the universe. As confident as I am in my team, and I like the construct, especially when you have a week like I just had where you lose a pillow fight, that normally means the gods return. It doesn't always work this way. But if you have a bad week, then okay, another good week's coming. It's normally, if you have a good team, you don't have bad weeks like that in back-to-back weeks.
Correct.
So hopefully so that'd be a solid bounce back. But fantasy is just weird, man. On one of my championship years, I played in the first round because I didn't have a bye, and my team had the worst week ever. But thankfully, the person I had against me also had a terrible week, and I just squeaked by. And then, so it was something like, it was a pillow fight, but it was like I won like 80-75 or something, like, disgusting. And then the rest of the way, I scored 150 points every week, and I won the championship. You just never know. Any given week, man, you could have a bad night at the office. So I want to, if I could just skip an entire round of that nonsense, and I'm just protected while the other guys are all killing, the guys and girls are all killing each other, phenomenal. And then I will deal with whoever is left over, whoever is mutilated in the next round. Great for me. So I want that buy desperately. Again, I could miss the playoffs. A lot of things would have to happen for me to miss the playoffs. I'm not even thinking about that. I think I'm definitely going to make the playoffs, but it's about getting that bye for me. So I'm aggressively pursuing it. I control my own destiny a little bit here because I think I'm going to, well, I don't really, but I hope I do in my own head of scoring the right amount of points. And unfortunately, I feel terrible for Russ, who's in last place, and he's been in our league the entire time. But Russ, I'm going to have to throw you down in that well, buddy, and hopefully you climb yourself back up in a couple of years.
Yeah, poor Russ. Poor Russ.
Tough.
Oh, well, it happens to everyone, Russ.
Hey, man. Well, not you, Lurch.
Doesn't happen to me.
That's true.
And I don't want to throw up the standings of all our leagues. We were talking about them last week and went through everything. But BG, I'm going to make the playoffs in all 3 leagues that I'm in. The top
nice.
3 leagues. I'm not in the Quad Cities. You're in all 4 leagues.
Yeah.
How many? Do you have any idea how many playoff spots you are likely to make? I know we still got this week. It might still be decided in some.
Of course. Yeah. So we have, of course, 4 leagues. 3 of the 4. I am set to make the playoffs.
You're going to make it. Okay.
Yeah. The Triple C, unfortunately, is one that
I'm in first place in the Triple C, so I guess I won't see you. Too bad.
So it doesn't look like it, unfortunately. It has not worked out well, which, again, this is the cool part of our fantasy is that we all draft different types of teams every year. So, I could be in the championship in one league, but I could totally miss the playoffs in another. So, no. In that league, again, it's possible. There's 2 playoff spots open. And again, maybe I could fight for 1 spot, but I would need like everyone to lose and me to win.
So that's like unlikely.
It's very unlikely. But
so
3
looks
of
like
the
you're
4,
out in the Triple C.
Yeah.
Oh,
but champs, I'm in it. Chumps, I'm in it. Although my fiance could knock me off, I'm in the final wild card spot. And if I win, I'm in. If I win, I punch in my ticket in the Chumps League. And again, you have a ticket to the dance. Who knows what can happen? But if I lose and she wins, she could leapfrog me, kick me out of the playoffs, and she could make it. I'd be like, oh dear God. So that'd be terrible. And then Quad City, it looks like they're going to make it too.
All right. Okay. All right. So you're in decent shape. Yeah. This has been, like I said, this has been a crazy, weird, magical year for me in fantasy. I'd love for it to end with a couple of championships. That'd be pretty neat. Yeah. But
I've done that a couple of years ago.
I'm in and all 3, man. All 3, I'm in, man. It's been a fun year. I mean, it's just been one of those years, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can relate. My teams just haven't had devastating injuries. My teams have just, for the most part, stayed relatively healthy. And I did draft well. I'm always very active on the waiver wire in all the leagues. But this year, I haven't had to be crazy active because of injuries. my team has stayed healthy, and my teams have drafted well. So the guys that I've picked have been steady, and they have basically carried my team. And sure, I've made a few adjustments at the bottom of the roster like everybody does, but really the top of my roster on all the teams has been rock solid. So when you get that, you usually get a good year. You should get a good year, certainly playoff year.
By the way, quick shout outs on the Quad Cities League. The mission is simple. If I win, I'm in. I punch in my ticket to the playoffs in the Quad Cities. If I lose and Bad Sean, our audience, wins by points, he would leapfrog me right now, and he'd be in the playoffs, I'd be out. So there's some drama to be played in the final week. So again, the good news is that's what you like, when the ball's in your hands and you control your own destiny. If I lose and he leapfrogs me, I have no one to blame but myself. If I win, I'm in. So it's very simple, very easy. So as the reigning champ of the Quad Cities, I'd like to put that championship belt back on my shoulder and have back-to-back. That'd be terrific. Belly to belly. Let's go.
See, I started to expand my into various leagues because I was tired of Boy Green having multiple championships in different leagues. I was like, I need to be in that league then. I can't let you be waltzing away with all these.
So you coming in? Is that what you're saying?
Next year, I'm sure I'll be in the Quad Cities.
All right, there you go.
Good grief. Like, I really need to be managing 5 fantasy teams because I have the family league that I'm in.
Yeah, right, of course.
And I'm in every year. And that one's a little easier, but still, it's 5 teams to manage every Sunday morning. I'm just sitting there for an hour like, all right, what's going on my lineup?
The waivers each week?
The waivers every Tuesday, right? Every Tuesday. And Tuesday's my busy, crazy day. I teach all day. I'm like, all right, let me, in between things, I'm searching a waiver wire, getting a couple of claims in. Oh, no, wait, no, let me change it.
Wednesday, did you get them all? Did you not get them? Do you have to get a secondary edition? Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
So it's nuts. So that's why you do fantasy, folks. It's so much fun. So you hear us yap about it, but the reason we yap about it is it's great. It's just a lot of fun. And it's great camaraderie if you have a good league. So again, if you're ever interested in getting into one of our fantasy leagues, just right there, contact information. Paul's got it on the screen there. And this way, if we have an opening, we'll get you in. I mean, we're not creating at this point any new leagues. We have 4.
Not yet. Right.
5 will be my max. There's no way I'm going beyond 5. I don't see a world where I do that. You never know. I said never know when we had 2.
I guess that's true. And now we have 4.
So anything's possible. If there's enough interest, we probably do it. But right now we have 4 leagues. And there's always every year some people that drop out, some things that go on that just, are out of people's control or whatever, where suddenly they either don't want to be in a league or whatever, or they jump ship, or they're not doing a good job with their team, and then we give them the boot. So you want to get in touch with Paul now and kind of get on the wait list. Because you never know, you could like pop right into the Chumps League. You could pop right into the Triple C League. You probably won't pop into the Champs League, which is our top league, because we do want people to earn their way, dare I say, up to the Champs League, especially if you've never been in. It's kind of unfair. So usually if there's a spot in the Champs, we will give it to someone who's been in there before and has dutifully done, has done their job dutifully.
Due diligence.
Due diligence has stayed the course, as we say.
Correct.
So longevity matters, seniority matters, dare I say, in our little world.
So on your screen is my email and also any social media. So I see Macho Talk Sports is like, ooh, let me get a spot in the league. Hey, again, just reach out, Macho, and I'll put you on the list. And I always reevaluate every year to make sure everyone's good for all of the leagues. There's a lot of management that happens there. So Macho, there could certainly be a spot for you. Just reach out on one of these portals or anyone else that's out there in the universe, and we'll make it happen.
All right. Very cool. All right. Game you're looking forward to most this weekend? I ask you this all the time, but I love to do that when we have these good weeks. I mean, we've got some really, really good games as we were just going through with Dalton Wasson, Boy Green. Biggest watch for you? I know you watch your Jets, of course. All right, right. Outside of the Jets, biggest game this week that you have to get your eyes on somehow, some way.
This is the most difficult, it's the same question you've asked before, but it's the most difficult because of how many games. Because I'll answer your question, but Cowboys, Lions, come on. How is that not much watch? Bengals, Bills, that is obviously must watch. Colts, Jaguars, must watch. Steelers, Ravens, must watch. Packers, Bears. I'm already at 5 now. Texans, Chiefs. So I have 6 must watch, and I only have 1 to pick. All of these games with divisional races and everything are so fascinating and captivating.
Well, luckily, you get Thursday night for free, so take that one out of the mix.
Yeah, right? Even though I do love that one.
Choices on Sunday, so make a choice.
Yeah, I'm probably going. I'm going Bengals, Bills. I'm going the sex appeal. It's just Joe Burrow, and it seems so unlikely at 4-8, but at the same time, the Ravens and Steelers are playing each other, so one of them has to lose. You win, all of a sudden you're a game and a half back. and they still have to play the Ravens. Like, oh my goodness. So the drama is spectacular. The quarterback play is spectacular. And when you have really good quarterbacks, that sets a floor for how good the game is. Normally, if you get just a stinker or something, it's because you have bad quarterbacks, or one team has a good quarterback, one team doesn't, and all kinds of things can happen. When you have two good quarterbacks, you normally have a really good game. So if I'm playing the safe floor and the sex appeal of these guys and all that stuff, oh yeah, I think that's going to be juicy.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. Steelers Ravens is hard to get away from. I mean, even though it's two mediocrities in a lot of ways this year, it's two mediocrities who need it bad. So it should be good. I mean, it should be, you got Rodgers, squawking about his own bad play and trying to get on the same page with the receivers. Lamar just looks off since he's returned. He just I don't know. He just hasn't completely returned to form. And yet they're getting healthier. Like, someone's got to win that division. I mean, if it ends up being the Bengals, I'm going to be like, what in the world? How did that even happen? They're not out of it yet, but the Bengals will have to get that game this week. They'll have to beat the Bills. And the Bills are a pretty desperate squad too. So I don't know. I don't know if the Bengals are going to get that one from the Bills. I think the Bills are going to show up for that one, but that game is it's in Buffalo. I mean, that's a tough place.
Yeah, right.
That's a tough
definitely
place.
tough. Definitely tough.
Burrow is fantastic, but that is a tough place to win. And we're getting our snow early this week. I think by the weekend it's just going to be cold. Buffalo usually is similar weather to us here in central New York, but we are getting some snow tomorrow in our area, BG, which means, Buffalo might be getting some of it today and late tonight in all likelihood, because it's coming from that direction. But everything else was just the rest of the week up here is going to be ice cold, and that shuts down the snowmaking machine, dare I say, for a bit. So I don't think there'll actually be snow in Buffalo for this game unless the weather forecast changes, but it'll be cold. It will be cold.
Yeah. Two things here.
Crazy drunk people out.
Yeah, that's true. So make sure you guys stay safe. It's always, you can't even just control yourself. You got to make sure you try to keep an eye on others. I love this from Matt from Auburn, who says, if you had a fifth league, I'm not going there. That's great to know, since he's graced every other league that we've existed. So Matt from
He's
Auburn,
on the verge of getting out, though, of the Quad Cities, isn't he, Matt?
He is. Yes, he is in. Let's see.
I have it with the top three this year, baby.
So he's already made the playoffs. So he's clinched his playoff spot in the Quad Cities League. He's the third best team, and let me see on points. Okay. He has the most points in the league. He may have the most points in any of our leagues. So consider this, right? So in the Quad Cities League, we have a team that's 12-1. That's the best record of any of our leagues. Like, whoa, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. Matt from Auburn, has more points than the guy that has a 12-1 record.
Wow.
So 18.
Well, we determined last week that Daniel Hahn, who's in the Triple C League with me, and you, had the most points. I actually beat him this week. He had a chance to knock me out, and he did not. I beat him, so I knocked him down a couple of pegs. But he still has a ton of points. I mean, his team is just piling them up. So
that's true. So I just checked it. Daniel Hahn still has more, but it's only 30 points more, which is crazy. Okay. So Matt from Auburn is having a hell of a season.
Yeah, that's a great season.
Hey, your redemption, buddy. Now you got to get it done during the playoffs. That's when it matters most. 100%.
Well, so you really want to be in one of those top two spots. I'm telling you, that whole thing of playing one less week and not having to go 3 in a row, to me, is a massive advantage in fantasy. It's massive.
Here's the problem. Unfortunately, Matt from Auburn, despite as many points, that would be a tiebreaker in any scenario. The next team up there has a 2-game lead, so not enough time left to flip it.
He's got to run the gauntlet. He's got to go 3 in a row. Your team's got to play well 3 straight weeks, or you got to get lucky that someone else's team doesn't play well and your team has an off week but still wins. That's right.
Which, again, Matt from Auburn, I'm sure, is not afraid of the struggle because he's been through it going through all these leagues. So it would be only poetic to then actually have to go through all of those levels to make sure that he gets it. And then one more shout out I want to do here, which, again, hopefully eventually we have it rolling here on the MC Show digital channel, Lurch, is I see we have a new member to the Boy Green Coffee Club in here. Shout out to Johnny Meyerheel here, and you are in the running for this beautiful gift.
Nice.
It's a tribute. Salute to Nick Mangold. Unfortunately lost way too soon, and the Jets are selling these shirts, and 100% of those proceeds goes to the National Kidney Foundation, which is unfortunately the reason that Nick Mangold left us too soon. So this beautiful shirt and a great representation of this cartoonish image of Nick Mangold, the Aviators backwards hat, big beard, and long flowing locks. you are in the running for that beautiful gift that we'll be giving away on January 1st. So salute to you, Johnny. Welcome to the Boy Green Coffee Club, and I can't wait. We're going to have our own version of it here sooner rather than later on the MC Show digital channel, which is super exciting.
Yeah, I'm starting to work up some logos and stuff.
Ooh, okay.
Things for some, because I want to get merch on the table too for people.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Be part of our gang. We're closing in on a name now. So you and I have been talking about that kind of behind closed doors. When we're ready to unveil that, we will. But we're working on our name for our little group.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool one. So we'll discuss once we get to enough subscribers that we can start put some of that kind of stuff out there and give you guys chances to do some cool direct interactive stuff with us. I'm also really genuinely waiting to get us to get to 500 subscribers. And then I think more regularly on our live shows, like we're doing right now, we'll start taking video callers and really very directly interacting with people. I know I love all of you guys that jump into the comments, and that's super appreciated. But if you get in the club, as they say, get in the club.
Sure.
I was seeing Wild Things the other day. So I see the movie Wild Things.
I have a long time ago. I can't.
So yeah, me too. It's been a long time, but I just caught it the other day, just randomly. I don't know, like middle of the movie, and I was like, yeah, let me hang around for this.
There you go.
You never go wrong with little Denise Richards in her prime. And so there's a scene where Bill Murray is the shyster lawyer, and he wins the lawsuit against the crazy rich, Blue Bay, family. And he takes the contract and he's like, see you at the club, Tommy. See you at the club. He's rubbing the contract all over.
Yeah, right.
See you at the club.
So that's how you see it. See it at the club. I like that.
See it in the club. See it in the club. So once you get the club created, we'll have some cool perks, dare I say, for those in the club. So see you at the club. See you on the golf course there, Tommy. Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Final thoughts, if you have any, Boy Green, and let's also set up the week for people because we've got some really good interviews. Several of them we're getting under our belt today. That'll be dropped either later today or tomorrow.
Yes, so I'll just jump right into that. We'll have our Jake Asman weekly Jets chat, and Jake, I imagine it will be a positive mood with another win for the Jets. So that's always good. Nice. Yes, get some wind in the sails for Jake. I think he desperately needs it. So that's great. We'll have our Jake Asman interview out today. We'll put a neat bow on the Syracuse football season. So Mike McAllister, it'll be good to catch up with our buddy Mike. Not an exciting season. I know we tried to get a lot of our casual fans on it.
Here's what's fascinating about our interview with Mike. Okay. If you're a college football fan, or especially if you're a Syracuse fan, number one, I don't know if you heard this, but Syracuse has an award-winning rapper. Yes, rapper, not gift rapper, baby. Rhyming and singing, right?
Sure.
Rapper.
Yep.
That has been recruited by them and is going to play on the team. He's 25 years old. All right. I want to make sure I get his name right. Is it Uzi, Boy Green? I think it's Uzi.
Let me pull it back up to get
Uzi, I think is his name. And I'm guaranteeing that people that are into rap are going to know who the heck he is because he's won awards and it sounds like
I believe it's Tuzi.
Tuzi. Thank you. There it is. Tuzi. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Tuzi is going to be playing football for Syracuse next year. He's going to be on the roster. He is committed to Syracuse University and Fran Brown. So he's a really interesting story. He's 25. He's an award-winning
multi-platinum rapper.
Give us got any deets on him? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. So he's a multi-platinum rapper. By the way, this is just so crazy. He had a upstate New York concert scheduled, but he canceled it because he's joining the Syracuse football team. So that is unique, which again, he said that when Fran Brown gave him a call, how did Fran Brown even have it on his radar that Tuzi would potentially be interested in playing college football? I have no idea. But Tuzi explained that once he got that call, he said, it's a sign from God. I got to play Division I football. And I'm like, well, I guess so. So yeah, Tuzi.
Is Fran Brown looking for like a theme song for the Orange?
Perhaps
he's got his guy. He's going to bring him in. He's going to be, he's going to get all this great stuff. I don't know what's going on there. That's crazy.
Yeah. So again, it's what's still unclear. Did he get offered a scholarship? Is he joining as a walk-on? Because obviously he probably doesn't need the money because he is a multi-platinum, artist that's happening here as well. But it was crazy. He grew up in Syracuse, for those who don't know, before he relocated to Raleigh, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. He played receiver in high school. He began exploring his return to football this summer by making an official visit to Maryland, which is crazy. Wow. He did that in August. And as part of his announcement, he was wearing a number 2 orange jersey and the person that said the photos were taken during the rapper's official visit. He had an official visit to the school last weekend, and he attended unfortunately, I'm surprised this didn't draw him away, but he attended the Syracuse-Boston College game where Syracuse got destroyed by Boston College. That was part of his recruitment. So somehow Fran Brown powered through that and was able to sell him on the program. God bless America. So, yes, we'll have Mike McAllister coming out today. Of course, it's a Wednesday, so Survivor, folks, we're running out of time. Our final, I believe we have 2 weeks left in Survivor before the finale on the 17th. And then we'll get ready for season 50, which is coming out on February 25th of next year. But we only have 2 weeks left of Survivor. So, folks, make sure, or technically 3 episodes. We have 3rd, 10th, and 17th. So 3 episodes left, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys have not already, it's a fun, sort of detour from the world of sports to talk with us, our buddy Brett LaBelle, former Survivor castaway from season 33. And I love the shorts that have been cut up by our great staff. And we just put another one up on our Instagram at MC Show Digital that just popped up conveniently there on the screen when I was just talking about. A beautiful, nice job there. And so it's awesome. So, we're going to have Survivor. We still have Anthony Prohaska talking Bills. We've got our Friday fantasy football. We're back to a normal schedule for that. Last 2 weeks we've had to do, because of my travels and Thanksgiving, we've had different timed episodes for our Football Friday. But Football Friday is back at normal time. Joe Bartle, 10:30, and our NFL pick segment will come out later in the day on Friday.
All right, so that's what you got to look forward to, folks. Thanks for everybody for jumping in the room with us today. Again, if you missed any of the show, you can go back and watch it. It'll be immediately archived on our YouTube channel at MC Show Digital. And if you're not already a subscriber, please become one. You can win that Bobby Mercer baseball. I'll show it to you one more time. All right, and also a $400 golf club. It is a Cleveland high-bore XL driver, still in the wrapper. It was donated by our fine friends at Play It Again Sports. So some cool giveaways. All you have to do, absolutely free, is just click on the subscribe button and become one of our growing community of subscribers. All right, we will see you all in the very, very near future. Got a lot of content coming at you. For Boy Green, it's the Manchild. Thank Dalton Wasserman one more time, and we'll catch you later, folks. Peace out.